It seems to me that one of the issues which faces democracies is how majority communities protect the multifaceted interests of minorities. It seems to me that behind the Ulster Covenant there lies a number of anxieties. Economics is one of them. Another one is the sense of their connectedness with Britain. And the third one is the question of religious liberty and religious freedom over against what they perceive to be the power of Catholicism with the toxic elements of natemery already operating. So, Professor Laffin, you know more about this than I will ever know. So the question is, to what degree do you think their anxieties were justified or unjustified?
As far as Redmond and the leadership of the Home Rule Party is concerned, they were unjustified. Redmond was personally a very, very tolerant man. He and Carson had enjoyed excellent relations when they were together on the Leinster circuit. Redmond's second wife was a Protestant. But of course, behind Redmond, there were people who were perhaps more justly or more appropriately feared than he was. And there's no getting away from it, there was a deeply intolerant streak in the Catholic Church at the time. The Pope was Pius X, an exceptionally reactionary man who was responsible for natemery, the ban, the insistence that children of mixed marriages must be brought up as Protestants. Until then, the sons would follow the father's faith, the daughters the mother's. That was brought to an end. So there was a new intolerance on the part of the Catholic Church leadership, which was reflected by the attitudes of many bishops and many priests. There was a perfectly understandable fear that a modern city like Belfast, a great industrial city, linked to Glasgow, Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield, and so on, and dependent on exchanges with them rather than with the south of Ireland, would be handed over to, as many unionists thought, a bunch of southern peasants who would lack any ability whatever to run a country. From another point of view, and this would have been a concern, I think, to a different group of people than those who drafted the Ulster Covenant. It would be a concern to Labour leaders. The social welfare reforms of the Campbell Bannerman and Asquith governments had made Ireland financially vulnerable because of the transfer of money. The Old Age Pension Act, for example, resulted in a massive transfer of money from Britain to Ireland because of the differing age patterns in the two islands. Would Home Rule weaken that? Would it undermine it? Would it threaten it? So different people were afraid of Home Rule for different reasons. I know you didn't ask about that. I just throw it in as a little extra, as a bonus if you regard it in that way. You may not. The Ulster Unionists weren't the only people to be worried about the prospects of Home Rule. And despite, to come back to where I began, despite the personal tolerance and innate decency of John Redmond, which was accepted by everybody. He was a widely admired man, one of the great orators in the House of Commons. His death was deeply mourned by opponents. But there was a feeling that behind him there are other people with different and rather nasty views. And there were reasons why Ulster Unionists might, in drafting and signing the Covenant, have justifiable concerns.